Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Module 6, week number 6 of HRD 631, The Adult Learner. I want to welcome you to another fascinating week. In this week, we talk about and we learn about transformational learning and experiential learning. And for those of you that have participated in certain activities, corporate trainings use these. If you've ever done a ropes course, that's a pretty good example of experiential learning, but it doesn't have to be that. It means that you are experiencing something and you're doing something to learn. It could be, how do you learn how to ski? Well, there are some people that just believe you put on the skis and you point them downhill and gravity takes you. That is certainly experiential learning, maybe at its finest. The other topic is transformational learning, and transformational learning is a deep fundamental change in your viewpoint, in your worldview with something. I've heard people classify it as a deep, profound type of learning. It is more than just a tweak of your views on various subjects. It really is a deep type of learning that in many cases actually changes your viewpoint, but in certain cases it can change a person's perspective on life and their life. To give you an example with transformational learning, many years ago, probably 30 plus years ago, I was a manufacturing manager for Stanley Tools, and then I joined a company up here in Maine, Arrowheart Industries. I was with Arrowheart for about a year and I got fired. It was a couple of days before Christmas back in 1990. I got fired from the job. Now, this type of learning, transformational learning, oftentimes starts with this thing called a disorienting dilemma. And this theory was put forth by Jack Mezzrow, and I have a PowerPoint that I'd like you to watch this week and a couple of videos. But what happened to me 30 years ago was it truly rocked my world. There was a period of soul searching. What am I going to do with my life? How am I going to do it? How am I going to pay the bills? And as the result of that, the first part, disorienting dilemma, was me being fired. You fast forward to the end, and basically there's steps proposed by Mezzrow, but at the end of it, you reintegrate what you've learned into your kind of new version of life, and that certainly was the case with me. I look back on it, I didn't like manufacturing. I certainly didn't like my manufacturing job up here in Maine. I was vilified in certain ways for liking people. My boss was a real strict engineer background, and we just didn't hit it off. So I look back at that and say, my God, that was the best thing that ever could have happened to me, because it got me to where I needed to be. But transformational learning, like I said, is more than just a tweak of your viewpoint on something. It's a deep, profound type of learning. And I hope you enjoy both of these subjects as much as I have over quite a few years. So a couple of things before I get to the actual to-do I'd like to mention. One is that I uploaded today the recorded Zoom meeting. You can find that under recorded Zoom meetings over in the content area. There's only two of us on, so it's 15 minutes. I cover topics all the way from the exploration question, project question, to the next step, which is the annotated bibliography and the learning organizer, and then what it means to present your project in weeks number 11 through 14. I also touch upon the learning reflection paper, which is coming up, which is due on March 6th. So, quick thing on where we're at with the assignments. I will grade this week, your participation grade for the first 4 weeks. I have been giving some folks in the class an opportunity to get caught up last week, which was in week number 5, and I wanted to wait until the end of week 5, which is tonight at midnight, ends before I start grading those. Your questions, those are due tonight by midnight. And then coming up on March 6th is your learning reflection paper. I'll have more on that assignment coming up next week. So let's get to the materials. Well, here you can see there's an overview. What I'd like everybody to do, everybody I believe is using the 4th edition, I'd like you to read chapters 7 and 8, and the topics are transformative learning. Some people call it transformational learning. Either one is correct. And then experience and learning. Kind of what's the connection between experience and learning? And when we're talking adult learning and adult learning principles and theories, this is a big one. You know, adults and children. I've taught enough children over the years as the natural science educator with the state to know that students learn by doing. So maybe it's not just exclusive to adults. I'd like you to scan or just read these electronic reserve articles. And then I have one discussion post for the week. You can choose one of these, or you can choose all 3 of them and somehow mesh them together. So that's it. The questions due tonight, March 6th, which is a couple weeks from today, is the learning reflection paper. This is a text document, an overview on week number 6, the materials, transformative learning, but also on experiential learning and advanced organizers here. The 3 electronic reserve materials are here. Have a video on transformative learning. TED Talk, wonderful. I just think this is fabulous. I hope you have time to look at that. And kind of coincidentally, for those that watch TED Talks, you may know that 18 minutes is really the maximum they like a TED Talk to be. I only mentioned that from the standpoint that it has to do with adult learning and also attention spans. 18 minutes, by a lot of research, is about the maximum time adults have to spend on any one topic. So when you're looking at this, you might think about that in the future. I often talk about that when I'm putting on workshops for people about adult learning and how long do people, what is the normal attention span. So I just, as a off note, that's why I mentioned that. Then I have a presentation on the transformative learning and experiential learning. A lot on transformative learning in there. Discussion posts. This is the one that I just showed you. And we have the exploration project question, which is due tonight by midnight. So that is it. That's almost 8 minutes. Not too bad for me. That is an overview of what the materials are. I want to thank everybody for the attention that you've been putting into this class. For all of those K-12 teachers in Maine, I hope you enjoy your winter break. Maybe get caught up in this class, maybe get ahead, maybe not even do any schoolwork. Maybe you're going to be skiing or ice fishing or doing something else. Or maybe you're down in Florida in 80-degree sunny weather. So whatever you're doing, hope you have a fabulous week. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me. I'm here to help. And I hope you enjoy week number 6.